All right, good afternoon, and thank you for joining the Social Justice Alliance. We join here every Saturday at noon. We are a team of 4. Rose Colasino is our advisor and the founder of this group. Myself, along with Jonathan Rogoff and Kathy Risberg, are co-leads. We are a multiracial, ethnic, generational coalition pursuing a more diverse, engaged, inclusive electorate by educating voters and advocating policies that directly impact underserved communities through empowering, supporting, and elevating frontline groups to achieve economic, political, and social justice. You can contact us at iisja@indivisibleil.com. If you're not doing so, please follow us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, and I'll drop the links for our social media in the chat. At this time, I'll turn it over to our co-lead, Kathy Risberg, to talk to you about our monthly meeting structure.
Good afternoon and welcome to everyone too. I love being part of this team and I love the monthly meeting structure that we have. So the first week of every month is focused on listening, learning, and elevating voices from the front lines. We've partnered with all these organizations that you see here and probably even some that aren't on our slide. Our second week is our Suppression-Free Democracy, the Roadmap to 2022. And along with voter registration this week, that week is just so crucial in keeping our democracy alive and well. So we invite you back for that second week. The third week is our messaging discussion. And confronting disinformation at school boards is something that many of us have been quite interested in because, again, we see this as an attack on democracy, what's happening at our school boards. And it's an opportunity for many of us to go and talk at the school boards and just educate people about the truth. So Joyce Slavic and Jim McGrath have been doing that in a phenomenal way every third week. And the fourth week, it is just such an honor to be here with Field Team 6 and IL Vote to present to you opportunities, ways to get involved with voter registration. So democracy is on the line. We're here to save it, and I'm so pleased.
Червона калина похилилася, чогось наша славна Україна зажурилася, а ми тую червону калину піднімемо, а ми нашу славну Україну, гей, гей, розвеселимо. Ой, у лузі червона калина похилилася, чогось наша славна Україна зажурилася, а ми тую червону калину піднімемо, а ми нашу славну Україну, гей, гей, розвеселимо. Ой, у лузі червона калина похилилася, чогось наша славна Україна зажурилася, а ми тую червону калину піднімемо, а ми нашу славну Україну, гей, гей, розвеселимо.
So we are here today to stand up for Ukraine and to stand up for our own democracy. And we can do this if we come together, if we register voters. And thanks to Field Team 6 and thanks to IL Vote, we've got all the resources we need. We've got our heart, our determination to save our democracy for all democracies in this world. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about IL Vote. We are, those of us who work with IL Vote, very excited to be part of the Illinois State Board of Elections coalition groups as a state civic organization for voter registration. So IL Vote is separate from Indivisible, and its purpose is to increase voter awareness and to just promote election turnout. We do this in our own way through Indivisible, and just as we here at the Social Justice Alliance are trying to advocate for policies that support all people, especially our marginalized communities, we also want to get everyone engaged. And that's why we're meeting here every fourth Saturday. So you can follow IL Vote on Facebook, and you can also follow IL Vote on Twitter. Kim is going to bring up a voter engagement and registration page that you can find on our Indivisible page. One of the things I'm really excited about is this opportunity for everyone to become a deputy voter registrar. If you're a citizen, there's online training. You can help sign up voters. And I've been part of this now for a couple of years through the League of Women Voters. And I'm just very excited to be able to do that, something I can do for our democracy. And now as I do it, I'm thinking, okay, I'm trying to save democracies everywhere. So on this page, when you go see it, view it, you'll notice there's an explanation why voter engagement registration is so important. There's information here on how you can register yourself and others. There is a turbo vote opportunity, which you can help people register online. And there's a step-by-step guide. You can see there's hot links there. And we have people working with IL Vote that aren't even citizens. They can help people, and Rose can correct me here, they can stand alongside people who are just registering themselves through Turbo Vote. And there's just a lot of information on this page. Here's information on if you want to get involved with registering voters, what are all the different resources? And there's more information down here about IL Vote. As I mentioned before, it's through the State Board of Elections. And then one of the most active members of IL Vote is Julia Klein. So she's posted a lot of pictures here, and she has just brought such enthusiasm to voter registration. I first met her before I met Deb. And once I met Field Team 6, then I realized, oh my gosh, people are really on fire to save our democracy. And there's something I've got to do. I've got to play my part. We see what's happened in Ukraine. We cannot afford something like that to happen here. And we say it can't happen here. There's even a novel that says it can't happen here. But we are seeing the inroads that voter suppression has taken against our democracy. And so we've got to do something about it. And that's why we're so glad that you're here with us today. There are a couple other resources online, registering voters by state. I'm going to actually ask Rose just to explain a little bit about this real quick. I feel she's more versed than I am.
Thank you, Kathy. And there's a lot of opportunity to register voters. As Kathy said, both she and I are deputy voter registrars, and you do have to be a citizen to be a deputy voter registrar. However, there's something some of you might have heard about called the motor voter form and other forms such as this. This is the federal form. I'm an Illinois resident. I vote in Chicago, but I actually had the opportunity a couple of years ago, way before the pandemic, to participate in Indiana at a naturalization ceremony where we stood at the exit gates and were able to register voters through this form. So this is a federal form that Kathy will be explaining to you that pretty much anybody can use. Go ahead, Kathy.
And actually, I'm not going to go through this. If this is part of this, I thought this was from our Illinois State Board of Elections, or this is part of it. Rose, you're going to have to just correct me on this.
Yeah, this is a federal form, and we just want to give you as many options as possible.
Right,
we don't expect you to remember all of this, but we will put the link in for the Indivisible Illinois site that gives you really a plethora of access to information, frequently asked questions, forms, such as this to register voters. But this per se is the federal form that has been developed, I believe, by too much information, but EAC, Election Administration Committee, something like that. EAC, it's a federal organization. So this is just another conduit, another avenue for us to register voters. We have a really strong advocate with us. She is a citizen of Canada, not the US, but this is a form that pretty much everybody could use.
Okay,
So I hope that
thank you,
helps. Any
Rose.
questions, please post in the chat.
I needed that additional expertise. So thank you. And now I just want to welcome Field Team 6. They know what they're doing and they know what they're talking about way beyond what I know.
Actually, if I could interject.
Yes,
if we
please
could
do.
go Dale and then Deb.
Okay. So
Okay,
I'm
well,
going to let them both introduce themselves. So thank you. And I'll go on mute.
Yeah, I'm Dale Nook. I've been organizing in Wisconsin ever since I became unhatched from the Postal Service. And I created a grassroots group about 12 years ago against Scott Walker. And my recent activities have included creating an Indivisible Milwaukee group because I had such great luck and experiences with Indivisible Illinois groups. And I'm also working very closely with Field Team 6, especially Judy Shanklin. She's incredible. So anyways, in the past, Indivisible Evanston and us collaborated on DMV registrations. We have a problem with Hispanic voters in Milwaukee, and the DMV on Chase Avenue is mostly all Hispanic voters. And we really want to push that turnout. Usually the Black vote's pretty strong, but the Hispanic vote we have a lot of trouble with. So we're getting such a good response this year from Indivisible and Field Team 6. We're also going to 2 other DMVs. So we're going to be staffing 3 DMVs in the Milwaukee area. One is primarily Hispanic and the other 2 are in Black neighborhoods. Field Team 6 also asked me to develop high traffic area opportunities. So we're going to be doing the Bucks watch parties outside the stadium. There could be up to 20,000 young people there, mostly Hispanics, a lot of Hispanics. Beer gardens, farmers markets, and then some area businesses in high traffic areas, really focusing on 3 things: the Black, Hispanic, and youth vote. And we're getting a tremendous response from Indivisible Evanston and Field Team 6. And I put in a link, the boots on the ground link that Judy has created. It has trainings in it. It has all the opportunities. It's constantly updated. So I can't say enough about Field Team 6 and our collaboration, and also the great experiences I've had with Indivisible groups on our Saturday phone banks for the last couple of months. So we couldn't expect more in Wisconsin from our friends in Illinois. So yeah, if you have a chance, check out that link. It's got training in it and all the opportunities I just mentioned. Thanks to Judy Shanklin.
I just want to interject. I want to thank Dale. He and I have been partnering together via Indivisible Wisconsin, more or less, as well as Indivisible Illinois since 2018, and it has been just a phenomenal collaboration. Illinois is important, but Wisconsin, most definitely, if you read what I wrote in the chat, is critical to the rest of the country. So I'm so proud to work with Dale. He has taught me so much about Wisconsin, and that will continue, Dale, I hope through 22 and then 24. So thank you for being such an amazing, amazing partner. We are now going to switch gears, and this is all, everybody, about collaboration, and we are all working together. So we have Dale in Wisconsin, we have Deb in California. Deb, I'm so pleased. I don't even remember, I think through social media, I found out about Field Team 6, and I was introduced to you. I have participated in some of Deb's amazing trainings on social media, which are every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, I believe, our time, but I don't want to take up too much more of her time. What we have done with this meeting today is to tell you about opportunities to register voters in Illinois, how to register voters in Wisconsin. Deb will, I believe, perhaps touch a little more on Wisconsin, but what Field Team 6 is doing is educating us on how to register voters in those critical swing states across the country. And they say it very well, to, in fact, and this is not hyperbole, to save democracy. So Deb, I'm just so grateful for all of your work, and I am now turning it over to you.
Cool. Okay, hi, everybody. I'm Deb Verla. Like she said, I'm in California. I'm in Redondo Beach, which is part of Los Angeles County. I like to say I live about $20 million inland. For those of you who've seen house prices, well, you guys have the same situation in Chicago. If you're not familiar with Field Team 6, I just want to tell you a little bit about us, but I'll keep it real brief. We were started 3 or 4 years ago by a man named Jason Berlin here in the Los Angeles area. He was a comedy writer for TV shows, and once 2016 happened, he said, I can't do this anymore. I need to be part of fixing this problem. And so he started registering voters and was really good at it. And he started Field Team 6. And our mission is very simply register Democrats, save the world. And that's what we're trying to do every single day. We started with our clipboards, and we'd go out to college campuses, parking lots, wherever we could find people, like Dale was just talking about. There's lots of different places to find people that you can walk up to. We don't sit behind a table. We just walk right up to people in their face. And we used to ask them if they wanted to help us save the world from Trump. And, you know, some people huffed and they walked away all offended, and that was fine. But way more people than that turned around and said, yeah, what can I do? Where do I sign? And we got a lot of people registered. We also built up this huge volunteer army and started registering people mostly in the key swing states, but we helped to flip 5 districts, 5 congressional seats in California that first year. So we took it nationally, and we were building this whole organization across the country, registering voters, when the pandemic hit, and we had to come inside and figure out a different way to do this. And so we started phone banking, we started text banking, we started sending postcards, we started doing media storms, a lot of different ways to register people. But we know that the in-person voter drives are still the most effective way, and it's really the only way that you can change somebody's mind. The rest of it is all about reminding people to register to vote. But we try and do this now that it's becoming a little bit safer to do it in person. We can do it. We do. Wisconsin is one of our key swing states, and we're focusing our efforts, because we're not made of money. We're focusing our efforts on 9 key swing states, and these are states that either have a really important Senate race that we can either flip or we need to hold on to, or have really important House races, or a governorship, or in some cases they have all 3, and we call those states the triple threat states. So we're focusing our efforts on those 9 states, and Wisconsin, of course, is one of the really important, critical ones. And of course, keeping the governor up there is critical for us as well as getting rid of Brian Johnson and all the rest of it. So there's a number of different things that we're doing. We have voter drives going on, like Dale just talked about. We have several things that are going on a regular basis in Wisconsin on the ground. We're really lucky to be able to do that. We have phone banks that go into Wisconsin every week. And we also have text banks that we're doing every week through our own text banking platform that we call BYOP. It stands for Bring Your Own Phone Plan. And I believe that Lori Mendick just joined us with our postcards. We were really lucky last year to have Shepard Ferry contact us and ask if he could do some postcard designs for us. He is the man, you would recognize his artwork, and he designed 8 phenomenal postcards for us. And then we've had several other people step up and say, can we design postcards for you too? So we haven't had to pay for any art for our postcards. These are really cool. And the postcards are really cool because they have a QR code printed on them. And when you aim your camera at that QR code, it takes you straight to our voter registration site. We were talking about other places where you can register to vote. We have another one that's called voterizer.org, and it enables you to register, select your state, and then it takes you straight to whatever the pages are for that state. Because in case you didn't know this, every state has their own rules, their own regulations and requirements, and everybody's different. So it takes you straight to your own states and walks you through that whole process. Some states don't let you do the whole process online. In Texas, you can fill out the whole form online, and then you have to print it out, stuff it into an envelope and send it in, as opposed to California, where everybody gets a mail-in ballot automatically, whether they ask for one or not. So Lori, would you like to, let me see if we can spotlight you and have you come in here and talk about your postcard parties that you hold every Wednesday?
Sure. Every Wednesday at, I guess, if they're at 5 o'clock Eastern time, so they're at 4 o'clock Central time. We have a group that you can sign up for on Mobilize. And we do two things. We have a team of 3 people who run them, and they are a training as well as a party for those who have been trained. So people who come on to the postcarding party, if they've never been there before, even if they've already done postcarding, go through the training that I do, where I talk about Field Team 6, I talk about postcarding in general, and teach the people who, all of whom, or many of whom are already postcarders, all these things about postcarding that they didn't know. Because there's all these little things, little rules from the post office that so many postcarders don't know. And then we go on to talk about Field Team 6 postcards and how you do those. And how you can make your own postcards, and how you don't have to buy the ones with the QR code on them, because it's so easy to put the QR code on yourself. Presto, changeo, very easy. And so I teach all of those things. Then once we start the Q&A, we can bring other people back in. What we do at the very beginning is we split the group in half. And the people who have never had the training stay with me for the training, and everyone else who's already been through the training, and we'll often have about 15 people come on who've already been through the training, they go in the breakout room to talk politics and write postcards with Dolly. And so we have a group of regulars who come every single week to talk postcards, to talk politics for 2 hours. We've expanded it from an hour to 2 hours. The training itself lasts about an hour with a lot of questions. And then we bring our breakout room back in so that everybody's together, so that the new people have a chance to talk politics and learn a little bit more about postcarding with the people who've been in the breakout room. Our breakout room is for writing any kinds of postcards. So they do talk about all kinds of postcarding. We're open to everybody, but we talk about Field Team 6 postcards. We talk about every kind of postcarding, but we're open to all. And so we get a lot of very interesting people in, but they all have to have learned to write postcards for Field Team 6. And we've become quite a group. We're just getting bigger and bigger. And the goal is to teach as many people postcarding as possible, because we need postcarders. And Field Team 6 needs postcarders. We all need postcarders. Field Team 6 does a very different thing than postcarding most postcarders do. Field Team 6 is sending postcards to people who are not registered to vote. So they're sending postcards to people who are likely Democrats. What I usually say is eat kale, ride a Prius, likely a Democrat. But so we're sending postcards to them and hoping that one of our postcards are one of many touches that will put them over the edge to saying, okay, I would like to register to vote. So the other touches that we have are a billboard, something they see on social media, a friend talking to them. Deb, did you go through all of this, or?
No, I haven't gone through all the other.
So there's so many different touches that we could do, and our postcards are just one of those touches. And they have the QR code on them, but they also have, for the people who are who are my age and older, they also have the actual link on them so that people can actually type that into their computer, because there are lots of people in the world who don't know what to do with a QR code. And we want to accommodate them too. So they're one of the many touches, and people make them colorful or not. Anybody can write a postcard, which is one of the reasons why they're a really terrific way to get people involved with their sort of one of the drugs that the gateway drug to get involved in activism. Very easy, and I really do emphasize when I'm teaching people how easy they are to do. If you can afford a 40-cent stamp, you can postcard. If you've got a pen in your house and you can make you can do it. So everybody can do it, and so why not? So we teach people to do it, join our group, and people feel very welcomed, and it's a nice thing to do on Wednesday.
Lori, did you talk about the different campaigns that people can pick which state they want to?
Yes, there are so many choices at Field Team 6 in terms of your postcarding campaign. We have demographic campaigns you can choose among. So you can choose to write to Black voters in Georgia specifically. You can choose rural voters in Wisconsin, and these choices change all the time. You can also choose specific districts that we're trying to flip from red to blue. So you can choose who you're writing to. And one of the things that I tell people all the time is don't choose too many at a time, because you want to go back and see what's new, because there's all these new campaigns always coming up, and it's fun to choose, and it's fun to switch, and it's fun to see if there's a new high priority one up where we're trying to register voters and we have a deadline. And we want all of those written to get them all out. And that's where you're important, and you need to help finish the list. So yeah, we have many choices, and that makes it kind of fun. And you have a choice of how many postcards you write, and you have a week to write them. I always say choose 10. Say you're writing 10, and then you have a week to write 10, and pretty much everybody can write 10 in a week, especially given the way that I show them how to write the postcards. It's
perfect. And you give them the script, right? They don't have to come up with their own words. They have a script that they're writing down on the postcards.
No. Not only that, Field Team 6 gives you a choice of scripts, which is kind of fun, but you do have to follow the script word for word. And one of the reasons that going through the training with me is important is there's all these other silly rules that you learn the first time and you're fine. But things like, the post office wants you to write the address in blue or black ink. How do you know that? Because I told you. Things like that. And they don't want you to put anything else in that little space where the address box goes. And that there are different kinds of postcards. There's some are easier to write than others, different kinds of things you can write with. It just makes it just easier than doing it on your own. And then you have a group that you can write with, which is so much more fun.
Yeah. Definitely. Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing all that, because I didn't know all that. I haven't been to a postcard party in ages.
You should come, Deb. We are so much fun. We laugh a lot. And we have people from across the country, really, really interesting people coming in.
Good.
So
Great.
I can post our Mobilize link if you would like me to. I can post that in the
please.
chat.
Yeah, drop that into the chat. That would be really useful for everybody.
I'm happy to do that.
Okay, and there's lots of other things that we do at Field Team 6 too. Well, we have a lot of partners. We have a database of 16 million
Go, Deb, unless you need me. Do you need me anymore?
Lori,
okay,
nope, I don't.
Okay. Bye.
Well, I always need you, but we're done for now.
Okay.
Thank you, Lori. We work with a lot of partners. We've got this database of 16 million names, and these are people who, for the most part, are likely unregistered Democrats from mostly our key swing states, but other places in the country as well. So we have formed a lot of partnerships. We're working with the Lincoln Project. They just put together a group that they're calling the Union, and they've brought together 50 different organizations to collaborate in different ways. We joined with a number of different voter registration groups all across the country, Defend Democracy, and we do a National Voter Registration Day of action every month instead of just once a year. So that happens the second Tuesday of every month, where we're just really focusing, trying to make a lot of noise about voter registration. And then we're partnering with Grassroots Messaging Works, who is just a phenomenal new group. If you haven't checked out their website, it went live last week. It's just Grassroots Messaging Works. I can say all three words of those at one time. Grassrootsmessagingworks.org. And they have just wonderful ways to message and to teach you how to create good, strong, positive, truthful messages to get out there into the world. But I've really started talking to a lot of people about that. Trying to be an activist and trying to help people register to vote doesn't have to be a full-time job. It's nothing that should overwhelm your life. It's something that you can do in 10 minutes. And so if people can spend 10 minutes helping us get the message about registering voters out there, it's a huge help. And there's ways that you can do it really easily in 10 minutes. Besides the obvious things like phone banks and text banks, we started media storming a year and a half ago. And then a year ago, we started doing trainings every week. In that year of trainings that we've done and doing media storms every week, we figure that we've gotten our messages in front of people's eyes over 1.3 billion times. That's 1.3 billion sets of eyes who've seen our messages about registering to vote, and a positive, strong, truthful message about how important it is to register to vote. And so that's what we're trying to do. And media storming is nothing more than free advertising on social media. If you've never used Twitter before, a lot of people are scared of Twitter because of everything that Trump did with Twitter, but it's really easy to use Twitter. I don't personally use Twitter for anything other than political stuff with Field Team 6. I don't use it in any other part of my life other than this. When I first started doing media storms, I had a Twitter account, but I never sent a tweet. And here I am a year later, and I've got over 10,000 followers because I figured out how to do it. And now I train other people how to do it. So it's really easy to send out our tweets, and that's something that you can do in 10 minutes anytime. We concentrate our media storms on Wednesdays because that's one of the big days on Twitter. And by concentrating it on one day, that's when we have this huge army of people out there to help us amplify our voice, really. So I just want to show you the quick and easy steps that are involved in putting together and actively engaging in our media storms. So I'm just going to share my screen for a minute, and you should be able to see now our fieldteam6.org website. From our main website, people can come to our website, and we store all of this right on our website, so it's easy to find. Across the top of our website are a couple of different menu items, and when you rest your cursor on top of actions, you get a drop-down menu. The first one is all kinds of different volunteer opportunities. That's a really important page, but we're going to the one that's called Current Storm. And when this flips the page over, actually it opens up another tab. Then I choose which social media platform. And we're going to look at Twitter right now, but you can also do the same thing on Facebook or Instagram. When I click Twitter, what appears are all these ready-made tweets. You don't have to write a thing. You can just pick up our tweet and send it out. Okay, so for example, if I wanted to send out this tweet about thanking Democrats for the things that they've done with workers' comp and that sort of thing, all I need to do is a couple keystrokes. I click the big button at the bottom that says customize and share. A pop-up window appears, and it takes just a second for the artwork to appear. And each one of our ready-made tweets has some compelling text that we've tried really hard to make a strong message for people to react to. And then they always include some sort of striking visual, because we know that's what stops people in their tracks. They're going to stop and look at that picture, and hopefully that's going to get them to stop long enough to actually read the words in that message. And so then all I need to do is click the tweet button, and then I get a message telling me your tweet was sent. That's all that's involved participating in our social media storms, is clicking the customize and share button and clicking the tweet button. If you're a member of another organization, like most of you are members of Indivisible in Illinois in some fashion, you can, if there's room in the tweet, because you're limited to 280 characters, you can add another hashtag. If your organization is doing a campaign, you can grab our pre-made asset and add your hashtag in here, or tag somebody, like tag a local politician or something like that that's important. So I can just, again, tweet the message out, and it goes out. And if I've put another hashtag in it, then people can find that tweet easy enough. So our army of people sends out these tweets, or as many as they want to. And the second part of our media storms is jumping onto Twitter itself. And all of our tweets, here's one promoting today's event. And here's the one that I just sent, the two that I just sent. The second part of our media storms is searching for all of our Field Team 6 tweets and then retweeting and liking them. And all of our tweets, every single one contains a hashtag that's hashtag voterizer. So all I need to do is type into the search field, which is on every page in Twitter. I search for the voterizer hashtag, and it shows me all the tweets that are out there that contain that hashtag. And then I can come through and like and retweet all of those different tweets. Of course, the first couple are from me, and I don't really want to tweet my own, but here's one from Jason Berlin. I can like it and retweet it. And what happens when I like and retweet a tweet, it not only gets seen then potentially by all of my followers, as well as the original tweeters' followers, but the more a tweet is engaged with, it kind of elevates that tweet, and Twitter is going to show it to more people. Because once you're on Twitter, you don't see every single tweet that's out there. Twitter uses an algorithm to try and decide what tweets they're actually going to show you. And so by liking and retweeting these different tweets, we send them up in the Twitter algorithm so that they will be shared with more and more people. So what's happened with our media storms is we started out a year ago with a handful of people, sending out a couple thousand tweets every week and kind of really talking to each other. And it's expanded past that because we've each, gotten new followers, and it's just grown as more people have joined our media storms, to the point that now we send out 10, 13, even 15,000 tweets every week. And we're creating 50 million impressions every week. That's 50 million sets of eyeballs that hopefully see our tweets. And we know that tweets don't vote, tweets don't register to vote. But if we can get the message out there over and over again, it's going to be one of those touches that maybe spur people to action. If they see this message enough, maybe either they will register to vote, or they'll tell their Uncle Fred or their neighbor Joe, and talk to them about getting out and registering to vote. Or maybe they'll even click through on the tweet and end up at our Field Team 6 website and decide, hey, this looks like a organization that's worth helping, and maybe they'll volunteer to help in one of our different activities, or maybe even donate money. So that's what we're trying to do, is get more people involved in a lot of different ways. Our media storms promote all our other activities, all our different phone banks and text banks and postcards and all the different things that we're doing. We also now have started doing a partner meeting every 2 weeks and talking to different organizations about ways that they can partner with us and use our data, because we already own the data. You can use our data and hold your own phone banks or text banks or postcards, whatever kinds of events you want to do as an organization, and partner with us to use our own data. So that's all available as well. And one other thing about the media storms, it's gotten to the point where there's so much information, people keep asking so many different questions, and it's grown so much that we've broken it into 2 parts. And next week, we're starting to do a basic class to teach you just the real basics of Twitter. If you've never used it before, how do you create your account? What do you do with your account so that people will want to follow you? And how to participate in the media storms. And then we're holding an advanced class every week, so that if you do want to participate even more and you want to grow your followers, how do you do that? What's the best way to find new followers, people who will follow you back and hopefully retweet your tweets, because that's what we're trying to do, is find people who will not only follow us, but retweet our stuff. And just different ideas on ways that you can take it a little bit further. But again, it's something that you don't need to spend a lot of time doing. While you're waiting in line, you're standing and waiting 10 minutes for your carryout to be ready. You can pull out your phone, pull up our website. I've got it bookmarked on my phone, so I can go straight to it in 10 minutes. I can send out 50 ready-made tweets and do something with that time while you're sitting at your computer waiting for your next Zoom meeting to start. Instead of playing one more game of solitaire, I can pull up Twitter itself and go and like and retweet 50 different tweets, and it's not a huge effort. It's just one more little bit, and if we have enough people doing all these little tiny bits, that's how we're going to win in November, is by everybody doing just a little bit more. And so we're looking for different ways that people can be engaged and can volunteer and make a difference in 10 minutes. And that's what we think we've come up with here. I haven't been looking at the chat, but I should, to see if there's any other questions. And I'm going to drop some links into the chat as well.
Deb, while you're doing that, unless anyone else has a question, I'd like to put you at the front, anybody in our audience. But I do have a question about texting. I think that's a great opportunity. Can you expand on the texting opportunity?
Yeah. Texting costs a lot of money if you're using a tool like Spoke, and we did a Spoke text bank to North Carolina this week, and we're doing one to Pennsylvania next week. You can find that on our volunteer opportunities page on our website, and I'll see if I can put the link into the chat as well. So we do occasionally do Spoke text banks when we have the money to do it, but it costs a lot of money to be able to do a Spoke text bank. So we developed our own way of texting that's free, but it's a lot slower than Spoke. And you have to set up a few things, but it's free. So we do a boot camp every Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock Pacific time, so 6 o'clock Central time, where we have a boot camp and we walk you through each of those steps of things that need to be set up in order to send out the text messages. We have campaigns running in all 9 of our key suing states. So you can send, you can join any of those campaigns. And the great thing about our text bank, we call it BYOP, short for Bring Your Own Phone Plan. Like I said, it's free. And the great thing is once you've been through our boot camp, you can text anytime you want. So if you want to text on Saturday mornings or Friday afternoon or Tuesday evenings, as long as it's between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. in that time zone that you're texting to, you can send out texts anytime. And so that's really convenient. We use mostly Google Voice as your texting app to send out the text messages, and Google Voice has restrictions on it. They'll only let you send a certain number at a time. So it's not like Spoke where you can send out 3,000 text messages in an hour. You're going to be able to send 50, 100, 200 text messages at a time, and then they'll stop you from sending more, and you'll be able to come back later in the day or the next day, whenever, and send out a group more. So again, it's something that you can do in a smaller amount of time and still make a contribution doing that.
I would just
Yeah.
like to mention the incredible expertise and drive of Judy Shacklin. I mean, we talked last month about having the opportunity to be in person. And I like to think I fly like an eagle, but I have to run to keep up with Judy, let me tell you. And Judy said, find me a place where I can send 12 people. I found her a place to Deer Plaza. So whatever Judy asks, Judy gets. So Judy's now working on the second DMV. We already got Chase covered. Now we're covering Titonia. We hope to cover Mill Road. I can't say enough good things about Field Team 6 and Judy. And I'm going to pop Judy's link in again in the chat so people can check out her work. She likes people to sign up on Mobilize. She provides training. Just outstanding, your group. That's all I can say. Just really pleased. So
Correct me, Deb and Dale, but Judy is from Illinois. So be like Judy.
You know,
I want to mention one more thing. I know we're posting quite a bit in the chat, and we're just rich and robust with the opportunities. And what we are offering you is a smorgasbord. So there's a lot here. We don't expect you to do all of it, but pick what fits with your schedule. I actually, as an introvert, I know it's sometimes hard to believe, I'd rather canvas than phone bank, but because of my situation right now, I've been phone banking. I have texted through various programs, and I look forward to learning about the one that Deb is proposing here while I was blow drying my hair. So it's necessary. We are at a precipice, I feel, with our democracy. So these are all many options for you all. And I do see that Kathy had a question.
So I'll start with my short question to Dale. Wondering whether the voter registration is happening at our local driver motor vehicle places.
I think it's automatic there. I think that's so it's
I
different.
should
We
know
don't
that. See, my ignorance, I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
Well-
but Ed Spear came up and looked our operation over, and he was very impressed. So that meant a lot to me. And he mentioned that that you guys automatically register voters at the DMVs. There's just so much ahead of Wisconsin, Illinois.
Okay, that
Just way
then
ahead.
thank you for answering that. That I will try to set that up. And then a question for Deb. I met Nabila Sayed, a local candidate, and just trying to figure ways to get her, if I can, with Indivisible and NWSOFA, work with her on registering voters for the Wear Orange event that I'm trying to set up in June, and just trying to make connections.
Yeah, one thing that can be fun, you know, like for kids, you were talking about how to get youth involved. Our assets can also be used on Instagram and Facebook. We also have a TikTok account now. So that's the kind of thing that they can jump onto Instagram and, share Field Team 6 messages there or on TikTok. And because they can tag a local politician, they could be using some Field Team 6 assets, but still tag it with that local person so that it gets in front of their face. That's about the only thing that you can do, with social media, if you're trying to get it to have more of a local presence, is tagging either a candidate or an organization, or using a hashtag that has some sort of local significance. And that's the best way to get that, local
Okay. Now that
process with it. But
Yeah,
start with the basic tweets or Instagram posts or whatever, but then tag it to make it local, and let them do some research to find out what, tags they can use or what hashtags are
Okay.
good for that particular thing, and that will help it.
That's great. And then within those tweets, I mean, they can, register voters to help pass common sense gun legislation. So they can
Exactly.
tweet it for that. That would be great.
Mhm.
That's exciting to know. Thank you.
And the QRs
so-
are great with kids. QRs are great with young people. So we're
Yeah.
finding that's a great message. We have hundreds to hand out at the Deer Plaza. If they don't have time to do it right there, give them a QR code.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much to both of you.
You're welcome.
So we're at 12:57, and I know that means that we're actually doing question and answers still. And
And if I
maybe
could
a
interject.
closing by
Kathy.
Rose.
Yeah, and before we do that, I just want to do a shout out, and I believe the young lady you mentioned and this young lady are high school friends, but for those of you that don't know, Ballot Z is a great tool. I don't have the link for you because we're running out of time, but you can Google that. But this is a group run by Gretchen Coleman, a young woman that many of us at NWSOFA and Indivisible, Illinois know well. And she is one woman, I believe she is a senior about to graduate from college this year, but she is a force to be reckoned with. She is educating the youth. She's educating some of us older people as well, as far as all the ins and outs of voting, making voting a little easier to understand for those of us young and old that haven't voted as much as we should. So I just want to do a shout out to Ballot Z. But we have 2 minutes left before I close. We are a informal group. So any of you that have any questions, if you want to take yourselves, thank you, Pam, you're on it for that link for Ballot Z. But if any of you have questions before we close, we would love to entertain those.
Yeah, one more shout out so Deb would be like to hear this. I just hooked up with Defending Democracy in Wisconsin. So I'm all about collaboration. So they're just joining the fold. So
There are so many great organizations out there, and there's not enough time in the world for anybody to compete with everybody else. If we can all, just hold hands and link arms and do stuff together, it's going to be a much better November for all of us.
Well, just being here with all of you, I am filled with hope. Really, with Field Team 6 and all the work that Dale is doing in Wisconsin, I mean, there is hope. And I just believe what you're saying, Deb. We've got to get more people in here, and we've got to get the youth involved. Is Gretchen working, Ballot Z, are they working with Field Team 6?
I believe Gretchen is busy. Last time I spoke with her, she was at an internship in Washington, D.C. and getting ready for graduate school. Once we get that pesky education out of the way for Gretchen, she's going to be doing great things. But yes, I will mention to her and see if there's opportunity for more collaboration, because as everyone can see here that has attended, and thank you for attending, despite the weather out there, there's still time to get out. but it's all about collaboration. I really do feel that it's us versus the 1%. Democrats haven't always been great about collaborating, but it's just been so refreshing working with Deb and Field Team 6. And I want to thank everybody who made today happen. I want to thank Kim, Kathy, Dale, Deb, as well as Lori. Just thank you so very much for being here. My close is going to be short. We posted a lot in the chat, and if you don't know how to do that, we'll be sticking around at the end, but there's 3 little dots at the very end, so you can pick and choose all the events that are listed in the chat. I do want to call up a couple of things. We do have a phone bank happening at 4 o'clock, and I'm just really thrilled that we have Ezra Levin. He is the fierce leader of Indivisible National. Here's his book that he and his wife, they both run Indivisible National Rope, but Ezra is going to launch our Wisconsin and Illinois phone bank. We have actually 2 going on. We have so many volunteers, but we actually need more. So that's happening at 4 o'clock. The link is in the chat. I also put, I could put a lot more, but one more event. This group, Indivisible Illinois Social Justice Alliance, hosts events every Wednesday, every 6 weeks. And we're really thrilled that we have an opportunity to host on this coming Wednesday. And we are working with a group. And if you haven't heard about them, please do come. They're phenomenal. They do work closely with Natchenko Rosario. Some of you know who she is, and those of us who know her are huge fans. And so they, along with what Patty Crane's doing, I'm familiar with her work. Deb, you mentioned her grassroots group. I'm thrilled. I want to go to that too. But we also have an event on Wednesday at 7:30 Central Time, led by the great women from Words That Win. So that's it. That concludes our meeting. Again, I thank everybody, not only our speakers, but everybody that attended, and working together. There's a lot to do, but we can get there. Thank you, everybody.